Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Admiral Trench problem. Just to preface all of this, we're getting Admiral Trench in the game. He's going to be a conquest character. His kit overall looks really good. We kind of knew that we were due for a conquest character just because we had already gotten one 3 months ago, and that's typically how their timeline is. And also, we kind of knew it was going to be Trench because for those of you who follow a lot on Discord, we actually found that something was wrong with the original files for the Lord Vader event or something like that. So we knew that they were messing with him for some reason. And lo and behold, here he is. And he's going to be a separatist. Now, before we continue, let's just clarify a little bit what this video is going to be. This isn't going to be a kit read. We've done a few of those recently where we just read through the kit and to make kind of comments. It's also not going to be a crash course in Admiral Trench like we typically do when the character comes out that talks about Zetas or Omicrons or team comps or counters or modding or all the things like that that we're missing out on. More so what we're going to be focusing on today is we have 3 months to solve a problem. And what is that problem? The problem is and you can see it in a few places here, actually. I guess the first place to address it is right here on the bottom of his character card. We have 5 characters: Asajj, Newt Gunray, Jango, Count Dooku, and Watt. And then even the first line of his key attributes, he's going to have direct synergy with Newt Gunray's extortion ability and Wat Tambor's tech abilities. So this immediately presents a problem, and we'll kind of show why in here this isn't really ideal. And the first reason is going to be because these characters already have not just filler homes, and like that can kind of be said about Asajj or Count Dooku or even Jango. Like they have some homes that they can bounce between, but Newt Gunray and Wat Tambor have some really heavy placements. If we look up the counters that are used, every 5v5 from this previous month, and we look up C, the amount of times that he's used without Wat Tambor are few and far between, and typically the reason that these people are doing so is because A, they're either beating a really bad team that didn't need any help at all, or because they were probably pulling Watt to another team like SLKR so that he had a better home. So that's really hard. That is hard to take him out. This would have been like, I guess, if Malgus right here came out and we just couldn't give Darth Revan or Bastila Unfallen or Malik or any of those characters to him. Luckily we can. He just really upgrades that team. But Watt is spread out, and really, so is Newt. General Grievous has the capability of beating some really high caliber teams, particularly Starkiller, but to do that, the dude needs Newt to be able to accomplish a lot of his counters. These are the really high win rate ones. When we get a little bit farther down, I think we'll find some that'll have substitutions, maybe like BB-8. But overall, I mean, yeah, you can kind of already see the colors change when Newt starts to drop out. This isn't great. Newt might be able to be given to him, but overall, Watt is a really hard sell, and that ultimately ends up making his kit a little bit more problematic. Well, you can say, okay, what if I just want a junk trench team, or maybe not a junk trench team, but a B-level trench team that doesn't have Newt or Watt? The issue is that doesn't really solve the problem. So the way, and we're going to go through Trench's kit a little bit to kind of highlight some of these points. He needs 4 people on his team, and he really wants to play with non-droid and non-Geonosian separatist allies. When we do the count here, there are 15 characters. You typically will take 4 or 5 of them on, or 4 or 5 of them are droids, 5 of them are Geonosians. You have 5 options left. If you're really tied on taking Gunray and Watt out, you don't get any trench team, or at least you get a very weird one with maybe another random plug and play like, I don't know, Hondo or something like that. But overall, this does present a real problem with, I think, very few actual solutions, rather than just really downgrading to a bottom tier team. So we have a few things that we need to figure out in the next 3 months, and this is really kind of where the problematic comes in. We need to see, A, which one of them can we drop? Is it Newt Gunray or is it Watt? And B, who's going to be the substitute? Really, I think the one that we're going to be pulling off the bench the most is going to be Asajj. Night Sisters are okay. They can be a really good team, but for the most of us, more towards the end game, maybe Daka and Zombie are assigned to SLKR or something like that. But for the most part, she's the free agent. But looking through, seeing what they actually do in the kit, I think, and this is where it kind of gets a little bit awkward, I think Newt is actually the lesser effective of the two, which is kind of hard. Because I think what Newt is doing for Grievous, and we saw that's important, I think it's less important than what Watt is currently doing for our our C teams or SLKR teams or trooper teams or wherever else you can really fit in. Because when we look up what does actually Extortion do, what is Newt Gunray doing for the Trench team? He is adding 10% extra speed for every enemy with Extortion. This is kind of good. I mean, speed is always good. But for Extortion to be able to spread and get out there, it's going to not be as fast under Newt lead. He's going to have to put it individually. So this, I don't see a lot of counters. It'll be helpful. I don't see a lot of counters making or breaking on this specific ability. And even when he has an effect in Territory Wars where it essentially functions as vulnerable, anytime the character can be crit, they are crit. And that's really it. That's really all Newt is adding to the team outside of all the other really kind of gross things he does, especially with his unique, that for every single time someone gets a debuff, they take max health damage. So Newt's adding a little bit to the team, but when we look up the word tech inside of Trench's kit, things start to get a little bit harder. Separate size with tech can have their turn meter reduced. That's pretty cool. That's essentially, I think, I'm trying to remember, it's not Hux, but I think Job actually has an ability that's pretty similar to that. They also got 100% extra potency. That's a Datacron. When a non-Geonosian Separatist ally gains this tech, they dispel stealth from themselves, and while they have the Factoid Shield Generator, they are immune to stealth and get 100% critical avoidance and defense. So, like, there's several bonuses all the way out there. One of the things that is also worth noting, and this is a little bit lesser so because Trench has a way to do this himself, but if we look up protection up and heal over time, these are both mechanics that Admiral Trench is going to use as well as give buffs to. And when you remember Watt's kit, Watt not only gives both of these out between his basic and his special ability, he also gives crit avoidance when the characters, I believe, have healing over time, or there might be protection over time. Either way, it's kind of the same math, and you start to stack up 100% potency, can't lose turn meter, extra crit avoidance, extra ways to gain all these bonuses that Trench is giving, the extra synergy on top of the techs themselves. Watt starts to seem like a really important character for Trench to really do a lot of the things that he wants to do. I'm really getting a defense type of vibe for him right now. This video isn't meant to be the crash course where we really figure him out and we go out and we send them on him, but the whole point, and I don't really like to do this, but we need to figure something out. We either need to figure out a really good solution for C, either as a defensive squad or ways where armor can really replace C in a lot of, or really can replace Watt in a lot of situations, or we just all transition using BBH with Grievous. But something needs to happen, and we need to see how these matches are going to affect, because it is going to be a real problem if we don't. I don't even know how usable the team is going to be if we have to stick to our guns and those characters stay where they are. So a lot to really consider with this character. We recently did a video about 5 characters that I regret farming. Depending on what your roster looks like and the Galactic Legends, the necessities you have, maybe Trench is a character that you don't get in the first 3 months, but you get in the first 6 months. You take the currency that you're getting, you give it somewhere else. Because we talked primarily about Watt and Newt, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are using Django and Asajj in crucial teams as well. So if you're having to fill out your roster, and this really doesn't get you a new team, rather it strips from every, not one team you have, but maybe 4 or 5 others, then it might be worth getting Gold Crate for 6 months and unlocking at the end. Even if you don't want this character, you don't have these characters geared, you can't get him in a reasonable amount of time, still try to get Gold Crate. Try to get him in 6 months. If you don't, you have to deal with Proving Grounds, and nobody really wants that. But overall, those are my thoughts. Let me know if we think of some solution, because right now, as it is, he really looks like he wants, at a bare minimum, Watt. It looks like Newt is going to be very helpful, especially with the max health damage through the unique. But I don't know if he can take him. One or 2 squads are really going to have to die with this, whether it be Mandalorians or Count Dooku. He can be used on some teams, but he's more of a filler. But overall, yeah, this is great character, but it's really going to shake up the board more than it is anything else. So tell me what you guys think and how we can solve this issue. And until next time, stay awesome.